back to my channel. Thought I would come on here today and share with you some 2023 book releases that I'm really excited about reading. Now, small caveat, because just because I say I'm excited about these books doesn't mean that I'll actually read them in 2023. Lots of variables could prevent me from reading these books this year, but I'm really excited about reading them someday. And they're going to be released this year. So we're putting them on the TBR this year or sometime. But here are 5 books that are coming out in 2023 that I'm really looking forward to reading. The first one is If I Survive You by Jonathan Escoffery. And this is a Caribbean author. Caribbean book coming out in 2023. I am here for it. I don't know anything other than it's a Caribbean book. And so I want to read it. And the cover looks really interesting. That's it. That's my entire reason for adding it to my TBR. But maybe you want to know a little bit more about the book. So here's what the Goodreads synopsis says. It's a collection of connected short stories that read like a novel. In the 1970s, Topper and Sanya flee to Miami as political violence consumes their native Kingston, Jamaica. But America, as the couple and their 2 children learn, is far from the promised land. Excluded from society as black immigrants, the family pushes on through hurricanes and later the recession, living in a house so cursed that the pet fish launches itself out of its own tank rather than stay. Like, you don't need any more reason than that. Like, if the writing is even mediocre, this is a great synopsis. And I'm pretty sure the writing is fantastic, which is why this book is so hyped. So that's the first book on my reading list for 2023. No, that's the first book from the 2023 releases that's on my TBR. Next is The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshani Chokshi. Here's what I pushed down on my little list because I have a little cheat sheet. Here's what I put down on my little list as a note. This is what intrigued me about the synopsis. It's fantasy, it's about fairy tales, and it's about marriage. I love reading about marriage. Always have, but especially now that I'm, how long have I been married? 4 years? Yeah. Reading about other people's marriages is one of my favorite things to do. So here's what Goodreads says about The Last Tale of the Flower Bride. Once upon a time, a man who believed in fairy tales married a beautiful, mysterious woman. He was a scholar of myths. She was heiress to a fortune. They exchanged gifts and stories and believed they would live happily ever after. And in exchange for her love, the woman extracted a promise that her bridegroom would never pry into her past. ... I'm not gonna read you the whole synopsis. Like, she has some secrets that she wants to keep hidden, and yeah, it says she learns that her estranged aunt is dying, and the couple is forced to return to her childhood home, the House of Dreams. The bridegroom will soon find himself unable to resist. ... Are you as intrigued as I am? Are you adding this to your Goodreads want to read list as we speak? Hope so. Then I am here for Family Lore by Elizabeth Acevedo. Elizabeth Acevedo has previously published YA novels, which I am not a huge YA novel consumer, but I have read her books and I have loved them. I read The Poet X last year, loved it. Read With the Fire on High last year, loved it. And so she has a adult novel coming out in 2023. I'm here for it. As a matter of fact, if I read 2 of the books from this list, I think this is gonna be one of them. Family Lore, like, she is the Dominican Republic. That's where her background is. I'm not sure where she was born, but it doesn't matter. She's a Caribbean author, and I love her books, and so I'm adding that. I have added that to my TBR. Also adding The Late Americans by Brandon Taylor. So here's my note. I wrote, it's a group of friends challenging each other to find themselves. That's what intrigued me. Brandon Taylor's novel Real Life, I think it was nominated for the Booker last year. And he also has a book called Filthy Animals. I haven't read anything from him, but I like the synopsis. So here's what Goodreads says. In the shared and private spaces of Iowa City, a loose circle of lovers and friends encounter, confront, and provoke one another in a volatile year of self-discovery. At the group center are Ivan, A dancer turned aspiring banker who dabbles in amateur pornography. Fatima, whose independence and work ethic complicates her relationships with friends and a trusted mentor. And Noah, who didn't seek sex out so much as it came up to him like an anxious dog in need of affection. Are you intrigued? It says in the synopsis that's a novel of intimacy. And I don't tend to read a lot of sexy books, but this one kind of intrigued me. So we'll see. Adding it to my TBR. You know, if I don't read it, I could always, they say DNF. I don't DNF a lot of books, but yeah. This one scares me a little bit, but it is a Puerto Rican author, so I want to read the story. The title is What Happened to Ruthie Ramirez, and it's written by Claire Jimenez, and it is a debut novel. Goodreads says it is equal measures hilarious and haunting, so hopefully there is comic relief to break up the heavy subject matter. The story seems to center on a family where a child goes missing and then later seems to reappear. And that's a really harrowing experience for a family to go through, but it seems like the author makes it a little light because there's reality TV being added to the narrative. So, you know, that's fiction in itself. So here's what Goodreads says about what happened to Ruthie. The Ramirez women of Staten Island orbit around absence. When 13-year-old middle child Ruthie disappears, it leaves the family scarred and scrambling. One night, 12 years later, oldest sister Jessica spots a woman on TV in a reality show. She rushes to tell her younger sister. This woman's hair is dyed red and she calls herself Ruby, but the beauty mark under her left eye is instantly recognizable. Could it be Ruthie after all this time? So I don't know. You know, yeah, it's hard to read about a child who has disappeared, but especially if it's a child who has disappeared and has come back, it might be okay, and it sounds like it's going to be fun. So yeah, those are 5 titles that are coming out in 2023 that I am adding to my Goodreads shelf, my Goodreads to be read shelf. Like, I don't need to mark any more books as TBR for this year, but I just added 5 more. So let me know in the comments down below if these 5 books intrigue you. Let me know if you have gone through the list of books that are coming out in 2023 and if you've marked some possibilities. I'll probably get to some of these, not in 2023, but you know, let's chat about them. So thank you so much for watching this video. We'll be back soon with another one, and I hope you join me for it. Until then, happy reading. Bye.